Hi, I'm Mary Stock from MNT's Bundesliga Boys here on YouTube. And this is an open letter to Bruce Arena. Aren't you wondering what I want to say? The title of it is ta-da! Christian Pulisic is the man. Guess what I'm going to talk about? Johan Cruyff was perhaps the most famous and the best player and is often lionized by many in soccer. But he always also did something called writing, and it was pretty good. What he did was to put the meaning, a lot of meaning, into a little wrap of words. Very few. So, this is one of the things he said. He said, football is a game that's played with your head, and the legs help the head. So he puts the emphasis where it's supposed to be, on the head. Christian Pulisic is a guy who has such a nimble intelligence and brain that he can think way ahead. He knows way ahead what's going to happen, and he's already planning for it and planning against the strategy of the opposition. So he has many other aspects too, but the key always is his head, is his brain. Now, he has, I would say, the main thing in his brain is this. When he's playing, and he's playing the opposition, as I just told you, he's going to win if he can stop them. And he doesn't stop them physically. I mean, he does eventually, but I mean, he does, his head comes first. He has it all figured out. Another thing that he has that's absolutely vital is that he's always been a winner. Do you know how nice it is to always expect that, we're going to win this thing. We're going to get out there and we're going to win it. And to always expect that, instead of having had so much trouble all your life, that's to say, oh, I will never get there. Oh my God, that's Bayern Munich. That's Argentina. We're not going to ever get there. Oh yeah? He will, and he'll bring the team with him, Bruce. That's what I'm talking about. He always shows his best when it's really important. The most important occasion, he will come out with flying colors. In fact, I think it would be better if he were put in most important or the riskiest or whatever, but he will come out. How many people do you think could do that? Most of them, they say, oh my God, I'm going to be so scared. I'm going to be so scared. And I have seen USMNT members, psychological tics, shall we say, cause many to not make a goal, to fail at a goal, to fail at a game. Christian doesn't have those psychological tics, but I won't mention some where we had important games that were lost because of it. The effect of Christian, though, when he gets in there, the people who need the confidence more than perhaps he does, he gives them They always feel, oh, we've got a leader now, and he's one that they respect. And I would say that that is another very important aspect. They respect him. So when he gets an idea to do something, they go right to it. Oh, they love it. That gives them a certainty that, well, I can do it. And so that's where he comes in and influences a whole team. The respect, the influence of the team, and his own ability to be a winner. And he has a great personality. They all love it. What is not to make him a number 10 for Bruce? Now, you may not be totally convinced yet, but I'm going to talk about a couple. I'm going to talk about Benfica. I think you may have seen it yourself, but let's just go over it because I might have a few points about this. Okay, let's take one example, and probably the greatest game that Pulisic has ever played, and he agreed. Now, there's reasons for it, and let's talk about that too. The Benfica game was the last game in the group phase of the championship of the Champions League, the UEFA Champions League Championship. It was very important, and there were a lot of people. Normally they get 80,000 a week in there, and all those people were worried because Marco Reus, the guy Pulisic normally subbed, was out. And he was out because he had gotten injured the previous week. Everybody was worried. Everybody was worried. And you should have seen the comments. And the comments were all the way through. Oh no Pulisic came. The other guy, there were two that subbed for Rice. No, they'd never do it. Never do it. Now, can't you believe that Pulisic heard that? And Pulisic, being as he is, this is it. This is the big challenge. You know, when Pulisic gets the big challenge, he always aces it. Always. And that's what he did. He said to himself, I'm sure he did, he said to himself, wow, they're thinking I'm second best and I can't do what Rice can do. Oh boy, I'm going to show them. And that's what he did. That's what he did. So, they didn't even know, Tuchel, who was the manager, didn't even know how he was going to replace Royce. What is he going to do? This was the day before. So it comes down there, and what happens? The next day, there it is, the 3-5-2 formation, and Pulisic in the power place, right behind Aubameyang, the striker. He'd been given the charge to go in, have the freedom of the pitch, and pick out the vulnerabilities and attack them, of course. So that's what he did. Now, without going into the whole game, there was an amazing article written, and you'll never see one like this again. And I'll leave a note in the notes for you, showing you the link, because you'll never find it if I don't. The link, there was a fellow who wrote for Off the Wall. I know, Fear the Wall. I'm not Off the Wall. Fear the Wall. And he said that this was Pulisic's best game ever. So, what happens is the three screenshots showed it, and they explain exactly what he did, and you saw the pictures. So they're amazing. And I have a feeling that Bruce saw the game as I did live. But everybody should see that. Everybody should see it because it slows the action down. Okay. Pulisic's coming into the middle of the up where the strikers are, and they're all around the penalty box line, and he meanders into the middle because they're all the Benfica is challenging the two strikers who wanted to get there and make a goal. So he's going to even up the numbers, and behind him comes a guy named Durm. So now we have 4 Dortmund guys. All right, so first thing that happens, Pulisic gets the ball. Now, I forget how Pulisic all of a sudden got the ball, okay? But he did, and the Pulisic always does. He's always in where the ball is. He is always working with the ball, and he gets there before the ball gets there. So Pulisic decided, I'm going to pass this to Aubameyang, who is and Dembele, who are the 2 strikers over there. And so he did. But he, first of all, he asked Aubameyang, like, you know, and Aubameyang said, without words, there. Guess what he did? He gave it to him there, exactly on the dime. How he ever did this, I don't know. It was from the middle of the line over to way over to the left. I'm gesturing to my left. You see me gesturing the other way. But it was way over to the left. Nope. Right on the dime. Now this was great, right? Wasn't it? No. Because immediately it was blocked by a back. Okay? So that should have been the end of this. But it wasn't. And then, and why wasn't it? Because of Pulisic. Otherwise, this would have been the end of this sequence. Pulisic sees a back from the right, which you see as left, going over to where Dembele and what's his name and Aubameyang were, and he thinks, "Oh boy, I'm going to get over there." Now, did anybody else move? Did anybody else anticipate? Nobody did. Here is the difference. Not one other person did. But he went over there. And guess what? The ball had come from Aubameyang up to Weigl, who was the boss of the midfield. And from Weigl over to Pulisic, who was defender. And so from Pulisic, it went to, guess who? Pulisic. Over there on the right. Now, listen to this. The back behind him, and he was faced towards Pulisic, and the back he was not facing the backs. And the back immediately sets his attack stance because he thinks Pulisic is going to turn around and he's going to get him. Well, Pulisic didn't do that. Remember, it was blocked over there? It was not blocked here. But because of what Pulisic did, he turned around the other way and went this way, out towards the corner. of the box. So, and by the way, he's also pushed the ball somehow past these guys. The ball passed him. They couldn't attack him because he didn't have the ball. So then he turns the corner on the box and goes inside. And there he is, behind all the backs, and only the keeper in front of him to have to handle. Don't you think? Aubameyang and Dembele came in because they were anticipating that he would want to pass it to them. But he didn't. He had thought this through, and what he did was, he said, somebody will take it away. There's too much of a risk of the keeper intervening or one of the backs picking up that ball. So I'm not going to do that. I am going to do it myself, and I am going to chip. And the keeper, he always goes down like this, and you can't see it, but I'm going way down here. Now, in the back is like this, and the legs are spread out, right? So I will use this arm, or this arm, to show you what he did. He was way down here. He was way down on the ground. And Pulisic knew he was going to go to the ground. He knew he was going to have that cricket. And he hit it right through. Not here. He didn't hit it here. He went right through and through to the back of the goal, hitting the netting on the side, the inside side. Now, the thing about the whole thing was, it was all interesting if he could sit around and make all these judgments, right? This was a question of judgment. Every single thing he did was a question of judgment. But he already knew what he was going to do. He had made this judgment, and probably made it when he went over to the right, moved over to the right. This is what he pictured. And he did it. That's how fast, and it took 3.5 seconds. From the time the ball left, what's his name, Bisek's boot, until the time it hit the wall, the inside wall of the goal, it was 3.5 seconds. It was a low chip, perfect. He picked the keeper's movements perfectly. He knew that. That ball was out of his hand before the movements were complete. So that is why some people say, you wonder why Pulisic is so good. Here's an example. And another thing I'll say about Benfica, the Benfica game, was that he was all alone. The other games I'll talk about were when he was with the team, running the team or helping the team, or was a winger or something like that. This one was him alone against the ball in Benfica. So it was sensational. He was very far ahead with his mind. And again, speaking of Cruyff, it's the mind that runs this game. Those with the nimble, quick mind are going to complete the game. Everybody, all the team is on his side, and Clint Dempsey was really, really enlisted on the last game he played with the MNT and Christian in the Panama game. You remember that? And he's getting beaten up by all these Panama players because they came right on the pitch, and they made a beeline for Pulisic. Why? Because they'd been told, go make a beeline for him because he's the brains of this. And that is the important part. He is the brains. And he's always ahead of the guys on the other side in terms of anticipating what the guys on the other side are going to do. However, in this one, the Panama players weren't so great that way, but they were beating him up, and they were beating other people up, but not much. They were just going for him. And it was pretty bad. He was not used to this. They play politely over there in Europe, relatively speaking, of course, right? So he's going for a goal. This would be the only goal they had achieved, and it was all because Panama was beating up this. Why? Why didn't the referee stop? Oh, well, because the referees down there don't stop those things. No, everybody has ideas about why they don't stop them. Is it favoritism or what? But they just don't stop those. They let it go on. So Pulisic was again where the ball is. He's in the middle of the action. He always is, and he usually gets there before the action gets to him. And he had the ball, and they're trying to stop him from setting somebody up for a goal. That somebody being Clint Dempsey. Well, you know yourself, Bruce. You saw it. I mean, it was amazing. He's fighting them off, and people are saying, "Hey, I didn't know that Christian had that kind of muscles, but he does." And he was fighting them off, trying to get the ball, and he got the ball, and gave it a real powder puff of a touch, which is what it required, and just pushed it over there right in front of the goal and Clint. And Clint came in and made a fantastic goal. So Clint is on his side too. Everybody is. So let's go on to the next game now. So now I'm going to tell you something about Trinidad and Tobago. Now Trinidad and Tobago, TNT, was played just before we had the Copa America Centenario last summer. And it was notable because Christian had just been given the number 10 jersey. And Clint's been never admitted to doing it himself, but he said that, the equipment guy gave it to him, but he didn't stop him. And then, and this will show the effect of Christian when he's playing as head of the team. So he went in there, and they had not yet learned about Christian, and so they couldn't beat him up. And so what happened is the guys get out there on the pitch, and they start playing the old ball down here, ball down there, ding dong, back and forth. Who's going to get a goal? Who's going to beat the keeper down there? Who's going to come up here and stop TNT from getting a ball? Boing, boing, boing. And it goes on like that forever. Now, where was Pulisic? He was out there he got the ball several times, and each time he got the ball, he would start wending his way through the middle of the scrum of the midfield. Not the sides, the middle. And he would trick somebody to move out of the way. He would find the space elsewhere, and he would wend his way. making himself go forth. Now, we know that making space and finding space is a very rare talent. Very few have it. And your best ones are the number 10s, who are the really good ones, not just any old number 10. So this is what he was doing. Now, things went on and on. The team didn't know what he was doing. They were going dying, running up in here, running back. And so this went on for 24 minutes. 24, in fact, up to 25 minutes. And the 25th minute, all of a sudden it hit him. Christian is making space. He's finding space. He's going to go. And so, boom, they got that ball, and wham. Every time they got the ball, they give it to Christian, because most people can't make that space. So they give it to Christian, he gets the ball, and it goes on, till towards the end of the game, we had the whole entire team up against the goal. And 3 strikers and Christian batting it in, banging it in. Christian's ball even went in so hard that it came back, and so there we have it. And everybody was high, though, because the score was what? 4-1, I think. 4-1. So there you go. And all because he was showing everybody that you can find a better, more certain way of making a goal. They had 4 goals through. Now they were so happy everybody was high. The whole team was high. Everybody loved joining Christian in this thing where they were all pushing ahead. It was so much fun. But it was a real high. It was such a high that at the end, everybody stayed on. We're talking about the officials now, the coaches, and the players. They all stayed on in their separate groups, talking, because they couldn't. They were so high. And it was just plain. It was so great to watch that. It was just amazing. And Christian, of course, you know that this was down in Florida, Jacksonville, and he had gotten his mother to come down and watch. So his mother was there, and it was enjoyable. And yet he, in the beginning he seemed like, oh, this is just another day at in the park, it's nothing. It wasn't. It was sensational. And this shows what a fantastic leader he can be. They all like him. They all respect him. And then to have him lead them on a plan that he's got was just amazing. And it shows ahead of time that he's going to be a great number 10 for this team. Those were 2 examples where you saw yourself how fantastic he is in many different, in his leadership, in the respect they have, in his opportunity to see things ahead. I mean, he has to have a plan. He likes plans. So that is what you saw there, especially in the TNT game. And now I want to talk to you about something else. Okay, it's June 2018 in the World Cup. It's the knockout phase. And we're facing, shall we say, Belgium. Eden Hazard, star of Chelsea FC, number 1 in the Premier League for most of the first season, of the whole season. And he's a big part of that success. Kevin De Bruyne, Manchester City, where Pep Guardiola's managing, known as one of the best playmakers in the whole of Europe. Who do you want facing them? Bruce, who do you want facing them? Now you could, as I said, make them leaderless. Or do you want to think about Christian in this respect? You know, we can't help that Christian dropped in on us when he was 18 years old, 17. We can't help that. What we can do is accept the gift we've been given. We take it where it comes. And if you agree, I say let's start working with Christian as our number 10 and running the team. You could have Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich has six deep in each position. We don't have 6 deep in each position. We have Christian. He's our gift. Let's throw away all the shackles that have been holding us and say, Christian, how'd you like to be our number 10? Christian can face both De Bruyne and Hazard without being scared of them. And he knows he's been playing all this time at Dortmund. And he's been getting excellent experience and excellent instructions. And he can do it. He can see ahead. He can, with the noggin, again, it's the brain. He can anticipate what's going to happen and be there. Now, I want to tell you, they did very well. Our team did very well in 2014 against Belgium with Hazard and De Bruyne. But Hazard and De Bruyne have gotten a lot better. Okay, they've been getting real heavy-duty experience, and now they are stars, both of them. But our guys, well, I think we're probably going to have pretty much the same guys we did, and except a couple who would have like abilities to the guys that we had. We have not improved other than Christian Pulisic. Now, so Christian can make this team play a lot better. He doesn't make anything. He just allows it to play a hugely better performance. And so that is why I think Christian Pulisic is the man, Bruce. And we'd be a fools all of us, to ignore it and wait till Christian gets to be 27, 28 with 2 World Cups under his belt. I think our team can do a better game than they did against Belgium last time, and they did very well. They did exceedingly well. They fought Belgium to two added times before they were beaten. That's sensational, really sensational. That is one of the most popular and exciting games that there was. People all over the world were watching that because it was so exciting, because the Americans were they had everything. They wanted that so much. But this time, we've got Christian too, also. and he's got the brains, and I think we can go farther. I think we can beat Belgium this time. So I want to thank you. I am very, very, very honored that you would come to see my letter to you, Bruce. I just cannot tell you how great this feels that you would come and see me tell you what I think about Christian Pulisic. But now I want to finish up with this. I want to talk to you about you. You're 65 years old. I looked it up. How long? And you're really robust. You're very healthy. You look very healthy. How long do you think you want to keep playing? 10 more years? 15? Well, it just so happens, Bruce, that is the same period of time that Christian Pulisic is going to be in his most prolific era of his career, the next 10 or 15 years. How would you like to be known as, first of all, keep the job as the coach of the USMNT, and then be known as the winningest coach of the USMNT? Yeah? No, I think there was some sort of, no, there would be some contention, but not now. Not now. I think you could. And who would be the engine of that? You and I both know who it would be. Pulisic would be the engine of that. He would have the guys now, the other guys. So, I want to thank you greatly. But think about yourself too. I think you could go down as the winningest coach of the USMNT if you handle Pulisic right. And that means starting now. Thank you so much, Bruce. And thank you, everybody, for getting this to Bruce.